and at other times their stories embossed in their construction, manufacture, journey associated with people who held them before. This event is a window to capture the stories, implicit and explicit, held in design objects, environments, and services. Here at FSD, we explore various disciplines of design through the courses offered in Bachelor of Design programs. The major sections of the event include the school's ideology by Dean SSD, discussion on the central theme of talking objects, design theory by Dr. Sachin Das and Tapasya Kamal, the admission process by CMO Mr. Amit Pul and Councillor Lavanya Aluwalia. And while you're listening to all of us, don't forget to notice the changing backdrops which are scattered all across the campus. Now, I would like to invite the Dean of SSC, Professor Shashi Menon, to talk about the role of a designer, especially during the current time, life at SSD, and share the vision of the school.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. There was a little bit of disturbance in the voice just now, so I'm not very sure you're able to hear very clearly, but I hope you're able to hear me clearly now. Can somebody give me a heads up saying that you can hear me clearly? Yeah, am I audible? Okay.
Yes.
So, first of all, I would like to welcome everybody this session that we have organized specifically for you all to understand what the School of Design is about, what design is about as a profession, and how do we see the School of Design at Sushant University being a part of, potentially being a part of your life, and how we hope to take you ahead in a career. I want to start by saying that making probably a slightly controversial statement saying that design is the profession of the future. And why I say this is because design is a subject that allows you to pivot yourself, to train yourself, to move yourself in your profession in a way that the profession demands of you. And this is very rare in many other subjects, most other subjects, I would say, most other domains, I would say, simply because they are dependent upon many other things to drive their growth. So if you look at other subjects like engineering or business, they're dependent upon many other subjects. Design is a subject that actually, a domain that actually creates leaders. And the leadership qualities in a designer is what we at Sushant School of Design try to nurture through our programs. Currently, we are offering for 4 programs, 5 programs in fact. And in the future, we are also planning to add a couple of more programs to them, which are in line with the upcoming fields in design and creative arts. These include areas such as user experience design, service design, gaming, and many other such fields. Now, the interesting thing about design is, regardless of what subject you're studying, you have the capacity to move across different areas, across different disciplines, very fluid way. So whether you are a textile designer or a fashion designer or a product designer or let's say an interior designer or any other kind of designer, you have the potential to actually collaborate, come together with people from the other disciplines, students, as well as with industry professionals, and actually create your own learning journey. And that is something that we very keenly are introducing into our system, into our teaching and learning system, so that you are able to navigate your journey, you are able to curate your journey in a way, so that your learning journey represents you as a person. And that we expect it to happen in the next academic year, obviously from the new batch that will be coming in. And we also plan to have to give you the opportunity to choose credits based on your interest. So you can enroll for courses which give you a direction in your chosen career field, and within that you will be able to choose larger credit courses to do with your interest area, or choose number of small credit courses to build up competencies in different areas. So in this kind of a system, we expect that the graduates that come out of Sushant, the School of Design at Sushant University, will be very well equipped and very well able to deal with the future challenges that the work force, the work-related areas, the professions all bring along. The other thing, very important part for us at School of Design, Sushant University, is to try and instill a sense of entrepreneurship in your own field of interest. So whether you are studying any field of design, your ability to actually work with other people from other fields or other expertise areas and form your own company, form your own enterprise, create value for yourself in the market, whether it is in the form of a startup, whether it is in the form of a collaborative studio that you will form with others. So all these kind of things that will matter by the time you graduate in 4 years or 5 years or whatever the time that it takes you to get into the industry, you will be very well prepared to actually take on those challenges. So working collaboratively in a design ecosystem, coupled with teamwork, coupled with collaborations with other institutions, other individuals, and also the whole idea of being able to curate your learning journey. So essentially speaking, this is what we are trying to do at School of Design, Sushant University. We have a good set of faculty from varied fields and with good experience, and they are energetic, enthusiastic, keen to take up your learning journey, help you or mentor you in your different interest areas, and also work with you as a team. You see, the future is all about teamwork, the future about collaboration. And if we are able to instill that from the first day of your learning journey, that's when you will really come out at the time of your graduation as a well-rounded, well-equipped, thought of professional. And that is really what we are trying to do in this in the school. I again would like to welcome you for this session today, and hope that you go back with some good impressions of what we're going to do, what we plan to do, what we have in our school, and also that you have questions that you will ask at the end, which we can clarify through our various program heads and various people who are leading the different courses. And we also would like to invite you to visit the campus whenever it's possible. At this point, yes, lockdown is there, or the campus is shut for students. But as visitors, you are welcome. You can always come and meet us, talk to us, understand further what are the courses and what are the details in each courses. Any clarifications you want, we are always here. And with that, I welcome you again, and I hand it over back to Nandini, to Professor Nandini, to take on the rest of the session.
Thank you, sir. I hope I'm audible this time. The voice is clear.
There is echo in your voice. There is some kind of echo in your step.
Like, is the echo still there?
Is it better? Am I audible?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you for addressing everyone. I'd like to now invite Dr. Sachin and Tapasya ma'am to please have a conversation about the course, about the school. and the subject of the webinar.
Thank you, Nandini.
Good afternoon, everyone. Are we audible? Can someone give us a hands up if you're audible? Yeah. Okay. So, Sachin, would you like to start?
So, what are we doing in this, our
space?
library?
Can everybody see our backgrounds? Can you see where we are? Perhaps you can listen to us. Yes. You can listen to us more clearly because we are quite literally in a sound box or a soundproof box. So why are we talking in the library, Sachin?
Aren't we supposed to be quiet in the library? I mean, it's supposed to be a silent place.
Who tells you that? How do we know we have to be quiet in the library?
I don't know, maybe just the ambience of this place. It just makes you quiet as soon as you enter inside it.
So does it mean that every place has its own so-called rules? Do you think it tells you something when you get in?
But who is telling these rules?
Well,
is the space, it's a dead space.
Well, if you don't have a librarian, would you still be quiet? If someone is not personally telling you to be quiet, would you still be quiet?
Yes, that's what happens sometimes. Even if somebody speaks, if somebody is not able to, they want to speak, still they will feel some kind of a discomfort that they are doing something awkward in the space.
So what we are trying to get at is probably everything around us talks to us, and it quite literally doesn't mean that it has to be a Siri or a Alexa that is talking to us, but it talks to us in its own language. And today we're going to talk about how design has a language and how products, objects, spaces, and sometimes even campaigns and services have their own language. And they speak to us about many things. But to make it more sort of agreeable with everyone, maybe we should break it down into certain parts. So what do you think do objects tell us? What should an object or a space tell us?
Maybe where it some kind of a culture where that object is placed. It tells us something about that culture, where it has come from, its history, its past.
So for example, if we talk about, say, the Swiss knife, the image that we were looking at before, does it say something about the culture it comes from? And what would you mean by the culture?
Maybe being hands-on, always being ready with tools. When we are going out on some kind of a,
which means that people who use this are more adventurous. Yes. Maybe they are more outdoor people. Yes. Maybe they need to have this very handy because sort of toolkits ready. So it's also going to probably tell us a little bit about where traditionally these things happen, which means that tradition is or any kind of specific ritual. Like in this case, if this the history of the object is seen, it would have been a part of a military gear, which means that there was a tradition of being have a handy tool during your expeditions where you will be taken away from a comfortable space for a very long time. It also probably tells us a little bit about maybe lifestyle. So if we look at the image which was after this, which is probably what does it look like? It looks like a shopping mall, and it probably tells us a little bit about the lifestyle of people of that place. What else would come under culture? Like, do you think that can you figure out what place of origin an object is by looking at it?
Yes, by looking at if it is some kind of an architecture or a space, we can definitely tell whether it is from the eastern part of the world or the western part.
But
even more specific.
Yes, if we have more knowledge, perhaps we can say, for example, this image belongs to Moscow, and maybe we're familiar with the classical order in Russia, and we may be able to say that yes, this space has the inspiration from that culture, that architecture, and that history, right? So that is also a part of culture. What else do you think on an object or a space can say?
I think apart from culture, it tells us something about how you should treat that thing, what you need to do with it. That's why we know how to use that object. A lot of things we can do even without reading any manual. Just by looking at an object, we know where we have to switch it on, how do we work with it?
Yes. So, I mean, the term for it probably is intuitive, right? We use that term in our design class all the time. And if you look at this chair on the screen, even without knowing, even if there's no signage or a board which says, really, this is a comfortable chair and it should be used for reading, it should be used for taking a nap, it would evidently tell us because of probably the shape of the object. It also is sometimes probably the finish of the object. So maybe a term which we were discussing right now, the term for it is affordance, which tells you exactly probably how to hold the object, maybe even later on how to repair it, how to fix it, how to open it, how to close it, service it. So inevitably, if you look for the right kind of signs, you can figure out a space, even for that matter, an advertisement. What is it trying to convey to us? Sometimes we can figure out what an advertisement is saying to us, right?
Our whole lifestyle, it's telling us about a certain kind. It's not even talking about the product. It's talking about the lifestyle,
around
personality of people who have a certain lifestyle who are using that product.
Yes. I've heard these terms earlier, like people say, what kind of people eat a certain kind of food? So if you're trying to sell, for example, cheese in Paris versus you trying to sell the same cheese in China, you will have a different approach because you would be looking at what kind of lifestyle is of the user. So even that is important when you're talking about what objects say. What is important is this interpretation. For example, this image on the screen may seem like a small object of fashion. It is actually a 13th century brooch which belonged in Austria. It belongs to the royal family in Austria. If you look at this not as probably a person who knows about the story of the object, you would still be intrigued by the kind of details you see, maybe the kind of colors we see, which may not be contemporary. We may not find this certain shades or certain kind of finishes in today's time. And then if you dig deeper or do research, you might also find other things associated with it. Like, what are the other things that can be associated with objects and spaces if you're reading an object?
The material, where the source of the materials which are coming, which it is made up of.
That's an interesting point, because if we know where the material is sourced from, we can get to the base of how it was made, perhaps what kind of techniques. But if we know what material and where it came from and what kind of techniques, we can actually figure out which period it is from.
Yes.
Maybe if for example, if you look at the car, the processes which have been used to make the body of the car would tell us what time period, which time period, by the way, is this car?
This is something which is about to come.
So it means it's in the future still.
Yes.
So basically what we try to also say that the language of the object is not just, physical entities. The language of the object is also many other associational, cultural, perhaps.
Yes, and it's so fascinating that it's the object is telling so much about it without saying a single word.
But would you think that you and I would think about the same thing? Maybe when we looked at a phone, when we looked at a book, would we be thinking of the same thing? Or maybe even for that matter, this sofa, or what are we wearing? Why are we wearing same colors? Do you even think that I have the same meaning for selecting black that you would have, or would it be different?
It would be different for different people. People, based on their own personalities, their own background, will interpret and see the same object in a different way.
Which means that what is the background? And what is the background or the conditioning that we acquire as people? What does it entail? What does it have?
Our personality, our own self as different kind of people.
Maybe how we think. How we think originates in where we live. How are we taught? What do we see around us? That is what conditions us. So if I was born in Bombay, I have a certain perspective of spatiality, which means that a big space and a small space have a different kind of a definition in my mind than a person who is born and brought up in Delhi, perhaps central Delhi, or maybe a person who is born and brought up in Lucknow. We all have different kind of interpretations. And this difference is probably what makes us like or dislike things, but it also makes us as designers and that interpretation of the story goes into things we make, right?
Yes, and all that combines into making us help decision about what we are going to choose, what we are going to select, because it's about selecting the kind of thing I want to pick up, which places I want to visit, which clothes I want to wear, which products I want to use, which phone I want to use. It's all going at the back of the psychology of us and the way we have collected these conversations from these objects, which ultimately help us decide what we are going to choose and buy as consumers.
Yes. So I think as what both of us are trying to probably actually say in very elaborate terms is that all design disciplines perhaps have this thing in common, which is the story. It is the story that every object.
Behind things.
Yes, the story behind things, and
whether
probably,
it is a cloth.
Yes, whether it is a piece of fabric or it's an object or it's an idea
or an animation film.
Yes, it could be a piece of music. Anything that is creative or is design related, all comes under this purview of its associations and its narration and its kind of relationship to other things around us. And when we work together, even as faculty and student, we focus on those stories. We probably focus more on why do you arrive at a certain thing the way you do, more than just what the end result is. Probably, that is something that we would like to take forward, even as a joint vision amongst all the departments. We think about the stories that are associated with everything, and we inherently learn how to decode those stories, how to probably project those stories, or how to even gain knowledge so that you could read all those stories. At least you have the knowledge to interpret those stories in your own manner, however it may be fit.
So ultimately, we are trying to infuse life inside things. We are not creating objects. We are creating personalities with values. Everything that we create has a personality around it. That's what we are trying to create. Personality which have stories in everything.
So I think, should we end it here? Are we overshooting the time? Are we doing good time? Nandini ma'am, could you help us? I think.
Yes, ma'am. You can continue. You can continue.
Okay. So I think that's somewhat ends up in the same place where we wanted to talk about our programs, and maybe we should take it on from there.
Combines all the fields together,
yes.
All the fields of design. This is something, the idea of everything telling a story and then communicating with the user, the target audience.
So there are various levels of this story. The story of the object itself, then the story of the person who has created, held, and passed on, the story of how many different places the thing has seen. Even if you talk about a space, there are many different aspects of a space. It could be a finish, it could be movable furniture which is kept inside, it could be the lighting. So if for example the lighting fixture has come from China, it has a different story unless it comes from some factory somewhere in Wazirabad. So everything has a story, but there is another level of that which is an implicit story, which is the language of the design itself, which means that there is more to the literal story. There are some physical aspects of everything, including objects and spaces, which communicate to you and instruct you how to interact with them. And then finally, as a designer, you are on both sides. You are creating as well as later on critiquing and improving. So that feedback system, you're also a party to that feedback system as a designer. So maybe we have to constantly keep learning new ways of unfolding these stories, and then understanding their language, and then creating them back again. So that is pretty much what we would like to say is what we do with students.
Yeah, I think for that one needs to have just a mind which is interested in everything happening around us, just looking for stories in every small little thing, whatever we are doing, not being too caged in our own selection of profession, but being interested in any kind of story that is happening around us, because that will ultimately, lead to help us creating something with value.
Worthwhile. So being curious is one of the very important graduate attributes that we at Sushant believe in. We feel that being curious is something that we can instigate you to do. Maybe it can't be taught, but yes, we can instigate you to be more curious and ask more questions than have more answers. So maybe that is what we can leave them with, that this is the kind of this is the kind of classroom conversation you would have seen, or maybe this is the kind of discussion we encourage with students, where there is a give and take of ideas, and there is a lot of questions which come up instead of formulated black and white answers that are given, right? So back to you, Nandini ma'am. Thank you.
I think we should wear our masks now.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Sachin and Professor Tapasya, for the interesting dialogue. It has definitely got us thinking about the relation between design objects and stories. So, and now I would like to invite the course coordinators to say a few words about their respective courses. So starting with Professor Tapasya again, she's the course coordinator for the foundation year. I would like you to say a few words, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini. So the foundation year, like the name itself, builds the foundation of any design discipline that you choose. So the best part of being in the foundation year is you're a free radical. You can explore everything. You can engage with anybody you feel like, and you have access to many different kinds of faculty who either head or teach in other departments and are specialists in that region. So how we see foundation growing in the future, the vision is to not just focus on skills, but to also build in that aptitude and attitude for the kind of field or discipline that you have selected, which means that the second semester will make you even more informed about all the disciplines. We will bring in, we inevitably do that in our studios, that we explore multidisciplinary teamwork. We try and encourage students to start selecting the position in their projects where they will play the role of the discipline professional which they're going to select. And we bring in experts from outside to give you a glimpse of what would it be like to practice like an interior designer, like a product designer, like a visual communication designer. And I think that's what we are growing foundation towards. We are focusing on not just the skills, but the final aptitude of the student for the helping them to actually select the discipline that they are best suited for, or they would love to work as later on. So back to you, Nandini. Sorry, I'm going to introduce Dr. Sachin Dutt for visual communications. I think Sachin, you'll have to come back here. He heads the visual communication department. He's going to talk about the discipline.
On the face of it, visual communication may look like it's about messages that different people convey with each other through images. For example, companies and organizations need to portray themselves as such a certain kind of brand to the audience, to the consumers, or filmmakers need to communicate with the audience about certain messages they want to communicate through stories, through advertising, or through websites and mobile applications. But at the heart of all these communication channels, whether it is in the print medium or electronic television and digital medium in the form of smart devices, at the heart of it is a science of human behavior, affecting human behavior. So the decisions and human behavior is defined by the decisions that we make about choosing certain things, whether to choose this kind of product or that product. On what basis are we going to decide? What will help us choose in making our decisions? Or whether it is a certain taking action against certain social problem, certain social issue, certain environmental issues. What are the things that are going to affect the human behavior in such a way they act in a particular manner? And research has shown that color, form, shapes, music, sound, which is now, and encompassing all forms of communication, really affect human beings in acting in a particular way and making decisions. And that's what the visual communication program here really acts at the core of human behavior, trying to understand how human beings can be persuaded to act in a certain way for certain favorable outcomes for certain industries, for our society, and for the whole ecology at a larger level. So that's what we are trying to do. And so now I will try to introduce you. I will introduce you to the next speaker, Preetham, who is heading the interior architecture department. So over to you, Preetham.
Preetham sir, you're on mute.
Sir, Preetham sir, you're on mute.
Okay. Hi. Sorry. Yeah. So, hi everybody. I'm Preetham Lenka, and I'm welcoming you all from one of the most noisiest part of the university, which is right now comparatively very silent. So it's the canteen area and the cafeteria. From here, so I welcome you to the interior design and the interior architecture community. In very short, I really want to tell you about two things, which is special to the interior design and the interior architecture community. We treat the students not as students, but as participants, where we give them a set of skills to make the story into a reality. So the whatever the new sets of skills, the theoretical knowledge, as well as something which is the whatever is coming in the market. So we really give them as a set of skills, or ammunitions to be ready for the market. And secondly, as in SSD, yep, okay. So yep. So in SSD also, what you can gain is the collaboration that we have from different departments, whether it is fashion, whether it is product design, or whether it is our visual communication department. So you get a lot of exposure also from different fields, and that is what the core of design is at the moment. So that's it from the interior design and the interior architecture community. Any questions we have regarding that, we can take up at the end. So I now give the charge to Harminder sir for the product design department. Harminder sir, over to you.
Thank you, Preetham. Good afternoon, everyone. We are very glad to have a session with you, and we are very vibrant and the most happening department of the college. Our student leaders and council leaders are from product design department. Me and Professor Taral is basically the anchor for this department, and we have been doing a lot of works with industry, and we are taking up projects on the real life basis. And our 3 years after foundation, 3 years program in product design is based on the first year you do the simple product design, and second year you do the craft based design, and fourth year you do the futuristic product design. And in the final thesis, you can take up the product from the development sector, you can work with corporate sector, you can work as an industrial designer. So product design is an area where you can, actually work in all the areas. You can work with architects also, you can work with the communication designer. So, without product design, no office can run, because whatever you see in your home or offices or in public places, everything is done by product designers. So we are the basic and very important part of the product design area. So that's it. Over to you, Himani ma'am. Himani ma'am is in charge of fashion textile.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Uh,
Yes, ma'am.
all right. I'm traveling, but I did not want to miss this opportunity to meet all of you. And I think taking the legacy forward of fashion and textiles is what this program is all about. And, in these 4 years, what you learn is the course is aligned towards, making you prepare for the industry, the fashion industry, taking into the heritage of the textiles that we have. And India is very, very well known for that, and the textile heritage that we have. The course also prepares you for various employment opportunities that we have, since Indian textile industry is the second biggest industry in India after agriculture. Other than that, we have our studio classes, hands-on learning, and as you can see me, I'm also traveling, and there's a small project that we could, weave into our trips and study tours, and that's how the beauty of fashion program is. And here, one more thing that I can add as a USP for a FT program, which is different from other fashion design institutes, is the fact that, we are taking the bigger umbrella of both fashion and textiles together and weaving them into the fabric of your own program. And, you are prepared for marketing, merchandising, you are prepared as a visual communicator, you're prepared as a stylist, you work, you can go and work in the home furnishing sector. The other very important aspect post-pandemic is that, you can work in the technical field of textiles with so many nuances of, disciplinarity being woven into it. And, so I think the opportunities are just limitless, and being so blessed to be part of this country and placed here where you can explore, and, you can go for 10 days of say a weaving trip, or you could be sitting in Kutch and exploring the embroideries, or you could be down south looking at the Kanjivarams. That is how the whole program is built about. And it's really not just garment construction, which some of the students do have this doubt in mind. It's actually how and where you plan your journey in the fashion and textiles era. So once again, I welcome all of you on behalf of SSD, and that's it from me. Thank you so much. Over to you, Nandini.
Thank you to all the HODs and post coordinators for all the useful information and giving us glimpses of the campus. Now I would like to invite our student ambassadors from semester 3, Mansi Gupta and Soumya Kalhan, to share their foundation year experiences and their life at Sushant School of Design. Mansi and Soumya.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, everyone. So I'm Soumya, I'm from second year interior designing, and it feels so good looking at our faculty sitting in the college. So I'd like to take you a little back, and I want to go back to when I was in school. So when I was in school, I honestly did not have the best time because, I had different viewpoints, and I wasn't good in maths or science. And that was always, a big factor for me, because coming from an Indian family, you have to be good in maths or science, right? But I feel what Sushant School of Design has given me in 1 year, I have had the best time of my life. Like, it's like not just an institute in which you can just, it's like you can explore yourself. I have made the most amazing friends, and I think the most amazing time and the memories that I have made over this 1 year, it's like so much. I know that the faculty here, personally speaking, the faculty here is like so close to my heart. They've not only changed me as a person, but also, really helped me develop in the way, in my confidence, in the confidence that I have developed in my work, and also been so close to me. Like, I clearly remember we went to Gujarat and I was facing some problems with my private life. But the faculty, I clearly remember they sat with me and they were talking to me as if they were like my family. And that means so much to me. Even the type of environment, even the people here, I have met the best friends that I ever had in this campus. Also, something that I really like about Shushan School of Design is that it does not limit you. Suppose if you're from some, like if you're like, my parents are doctors and I can speak for them, because in like when they tell me about their experience from their college, it's like very, very monotonous, very like you have to study, you have to get this much amount of percentage, and then you have to pass. Design is not like that. Design is like you can excel in so many areas. You can and it's like it really gives you that area to grow and to become that individual, to become confident. It's not just academic wise but also in your personal life. It is like, really, it is an amazing journey. And personally speaking, in this 1 year I have not enjoyed my life for now, and like this 1 year I think I've made the best memories in my life. So yeah, that's all. Over to Mansi.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for having me, Marina ma'am, to call me and told me to come here. I got a bit nostalgic, and I always, before coming into Shushan School of Design, I had no idea I'll be here. I called Shushan School of Design my second home now that I'm very attached to the camp there. So I think the environment there is very unique from all the, because I have seen the non-design background as well and the design. So I come from a background where design was not very supportive. My parents did not have much trust on it. But then they saw me performing, and then when I talked about my faculty to them, they appreciated it. They had some trust in it. So I think most of it goes to the environment our teachers built for us. Like just now we saw Tapasya ma'am coming up with a great idea of explaining things to us. So that's how things are in Shushan School of Design, and I don't think I could be more grateful to them. And for me, I had to, like, I didn't have much confidence in myself in my higher education, but then the college actually shaped me. So yeah, it was a great experience. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mansi. Thank you, Soumya, for sharing these beautiful memories. I would also like to thank the Dean, the course coordinators, and the students for sharing the insights and experiences about the courses and life at Shushan School of Design. I would like to also thank our CMO, Mr. Amit Phul, for his presence at the event today, and Ms. Lavanya Ahluwalia. I would like Mr. Amit Phul to take over to please explain the admission process at SSD. Thank you so much, sir.
Hi, thank you, Nandini. Thank you for this opportunity. Great to see some prospective students with us at this platform today, and really excited to see all these students taking out time and participating in the showcase of Shushan School of Design. Firstly, let me start by congratulating each one of you. You have cleared your class 12th examination, and you are on the verge of taking the most important decision of your life, is to join the next Shushan School of Design or any other design school that you may be having in your mind. And this is a critical time, which is a make or break for many of the students. And I, on behalf of Sushant University, would like to assure each one of you that your success is the most important priority for each and every member of Sushant University. And I'm sure all the faculty will become your allies in your decision making going forward as well. So many of you who would still have not taken admission at the same time would also be looking and exploring opportunities for next year. Let me also take you through the entire admission process which we follow here at Sushant School of Design. We have a legacy of more than 10 years, so many alumni stories as well, and I'm very happy and glad to witness two alumni talking about their experiences here at the university. This time around, because of the pandemic scenario, of course, all our admission process was done online. And starting with the eligibility criteria, I'd like to share in the next slide. We have 2 courses in Sushant School of Design, our Bachelor's of Architecture, which is a Bachelor's of Design, which is a BTES undergrad program. Under this, we are offering streams like interior design, interior architecture, visual communication, product design, as well as fashion and textile. Here, we are requiring minimum 50% aggregate in class 12th examination. And for Masters in Design, we are offering interior design in Masters. We're requiring a minimum 50% aggregate in any graduation stream that is recognized under the UGC approval. Once we are clear on the eligibility criteria, I'd like to also share the admission process that we've been following. We started in the month of March itself, and all our admission campaign have been going on online this time around. So in the next slide, we'll talk about the admission procedure. So we have an online application form which is uploaded on our website as well. All you have to do is connect with a counselor. They will help you with the link of the application form, which is also mentioned on this slide. You have to submit all the fields that are applicable for you on the application form, and submit all your respective documentations, be it your class 12th examination marks or be it your graduation marks. We are also having an aptitude cum scholarship test for all the meritorious students. We have in fact exhausted all the seats as of now, but I think a few meritorious students can still be accommodated for the aptitude test. Once you have given your aptitude test and we have all your relevant documents with us, there will be a personal interview round, which will be with the subject faculty concerned, as well as the dean of the school. And basis your performance in all these 3 parameters, we will issue the selection letter to all the selected candidates. Our classes have already started from 21st of September for all the undergrad students, and on the 14th of September, we started the classes for all the master's students also. So I must highlight that there is a lot of focus in giving the best opportunity of learning as well as practical exposure to the students. And please, if you have still not taken the admission or you're on the verge of exploring for next year, please get into the process as soon as possible so that we can streamline it even better. For all the meritorious students, for the first time, we launched a composite scholarship scheme as well. Under the composite scholarship scheme, we take your score of class 12 vis-a-vis your performance in the design aptitude test. We combine both of them and come up with a composite score. In case you have not appeared for the design aptitude test of Sushant University and you've appeared for the UCEED exam, then we'll take UCEED score. And then there is a range starting from 60% of composite score to up to 75% of composite score and above. We are offering 25% of first year tuition fees at the scholarship as a below range, as a bottom range, and then up to 100% of first year tuition fees is given to all the meritorious students. This is particularly done to encourage good classroom discussions, which can add value in terms of your overall learning as well. So many of our students who have come from with a great academic record, they have actually availed this facility, and we are glad that we have a great classroom discussion going on at the current moment. Beyond the composite scholarship, we also have a COVID special scholarship, which we launched only this time around. And under that category, all the undergrad students are eligible to apply for 25% of first year tuition fees as a COVID scholarship. And all the postgrad students are eligible to apply for 25% of first semester tuition fees as a special scholarship. This is subject to overall 50% of the total class strength. There will be only few categories seats available under the scholarship scheme. So I would request each one of you to take an informed decision and please connect with the counselor as soon as possible. Beyond the overall curriculum learning as well, we have taken some special steps to enhance your learning curve, be it our collaboration with Harvard Business School online that we have done recently. Under that collaboration, there are 12 specific courses that we are offering students from across the university streams, be it an architect student or a design student or an engineering or a management, you are free to actually take up a certificate program under Harvard Business School. And being a student of Sushant University, we are happy to provide financial aids to our students to up to 50% as well on those programs. Besides that, we have also launched a Center for Foreign Languages. Many of our students, specifically from the creative field like architecture and design, have taken benefit of those centers as well, where we are giving you online courses across 17 to 18 foreign languages right here at the campus with the online teaching methodology that we are following. So please take good advantage of all these value-added services that we are provided with the student learning. And you are also in touch with our counselor, Ms. Lavanya Aluwalia. She'll be more than excited to connect further with any one of you who has any requirement on admission front or any clarity is required on any procedure. We will be more than happy to address it. I'm going to be a part of this open house for some more time. So in case you have any query related to admissions or scholarship, please feel free to connect with us and we'll be more than happy to address it. And we look forward to having you at our campus anytime soon. And till then, please stay safe. All the best.
Thank you, sir, for providing us this valuable information. I hope it's helped everyone. Now we're open for questions. There is one question in the chat box. If anybody else has other questions, they can keep posting them. Shall I read out the question? And then the concerned coordinators can answer it. So this question is from Purnima. She's saying, I'm planning for my post-grad in interiors and design, basically switching my field from graphics and visualizing, in which I have been working in since almost 3 years now. I have always been interested in interiors and wanted to pursue it. But unfortunately, I do not have basic interior design knowledge. Will it be beneficial to go for master in the same, in concern of the basic knowledge and furthermore of the same?
So if I may, Nandini, can I take this question? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So Purnima, it depends on what have you graduated with. If you have a basic graduation in, as you're saying, you've been working in visual communication. Did you graduate or did you directly after your 12th started working? Because our eligibility for masters requires you to have completed a graduation in any subject of your choice. But it has to, you have to have completed a 3-year graduation. One is that. The other is it's never too late to start design because if you really are looking at design as your future career, and especially if you're looking at interior design, a degree helps you not just know the know-how of how the profession is going to be handled by you, but also gives you a lot of other things. It gives you a network of people. So your faculty and your visiting faculty and all the people who come to meet you here, it makes that network for you. You also get to experience events and on occasion even travel out to places and make connections. The other thing that it will provide you even as a senior student is a degree which is valid for you to pursue other things, whether you are going in for a government contract or you're going to pursue a PhD, or you are looking at tomorrow working with a firm or looking at a government job. It requires you to have the qualification. So the degree course definitely, whether it is a bachelor's or a master's, is going to launch you as a designer and also going to provide you with all these right tools to take this career forward. So depending on what you have already completed, I might be able to answer better. Yeah, thank you. You have experience as a professional designer. Okay. Okay, but yeah, the master's program has a bachelor's. Amit sir, would you bring in and reinforce it? Am I correct in saying that? You're on mute.
So it's the same question from Purnima also only, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah. She's saying she's been working as a designer.
I mean, professional experience always adds more value. And as I said, this time around, we are looking at quality students in our classroom, and all of them are coming with either a relevant professional experience or they have an inherent interest in this particular field. So we are not only looking at an interest or an experience, we are also looking at a right aptitude for the student. And all this will ensure that the vision that the dean of the school carries percolates down to the students, and then they are the right ambassadors for us. So I think a relevant experience of 6 years, of 3 years or more is an added benefit, which will give you an edge in terms of your admission criteria as well.
I think Purnima has already mentioned that she's graduated in BSc Animation and VFX as well. So that's already, I think, a pre-qualification in many ways, because being in animation VFX is also connected in many ways. In the emerging times, it's connected with interior design also. It's surprising to know that interior designers and architects are a lot of them are employed by the animation and VFX industry to actually visualize scenarios in games, to visualize scenarios in movies. So it's actually, I would say, it's a logical path ahead from the graduation. And if the BSc degree is there, then I think the qualification part is also taken care
of. I hope, Purnima, you've got the answers to your questions. I'll move to the next question then. This question is from Gauravi. She's asking, when will the scholarship test for the admission process of 2021 be conducted?
So the admission process for 2021 will be launched next month, November onwards. And we'll be happy to take note of any requirements, be it on the admission process or the scholarship and all of that. We'll take it separately. But as of now, I think first few weeks, I think by middle of November, our entire admission process will be on for 2021. And by end of November, we could look at conducting one scholarship test also.
Thank you, sir. Gauravi, I hope your question has been answered. The next question is from Ritika. She's saying, I'm planning to do interior design, but I'm confused between interior design and fashion design. So will it be easy to change the field after the foundation year if she wishes to? So Tapasya ma'am, would you like to answer?
Yes. That's what I was saying. Foundation year is, the time when you experiment, and we encourage you to go into your seniors' classrooms, look at all the professional work that people who come to talk to you or visit the school bring with them, and then you can take a call at the end of the first year. So at the end of the first year, we float a form around, and we do some amount of interviews just to assess where did you start and where are you now and where would you like to continue. So discipline choice is at the end of the first year possible to meander from one place to the other in case you change your mind. So not a problem at all.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope your question is answered, Ritika. There's another question by Gauravi. She's asking, what is the basic difference between interior designing and interior architecture? So the course coordinators or Tapasya ma'am can again. Who would like to answer this question?
Okay. So can I answer this one?
Sure, sir, please.
Yeah. Both of them are built on a common foundation of subjects, both interior design and interior architecture. The basic difference that lies is somebody who graduates from the interior architecture department has a set of knowledge related to the basics of architecture, or let's say the basics of structure. So a little bit towards the architectural field. The one who graduates from the interior design department, they have a lean or a focus towards something which is about interior furniture, products, furnishing. So not exactly decoration, that's a very separate part of it. But yes, that's the basic difference. You will find subjects which will be having common names both in interior design and interior architecture, but the way they will be delivered, the course deliverables will be different. So they will have a lean towards the field that they have been directed to. So that's the basic difference. Anything else? I can take it up also as a query. Yeah.
Can I add something to
Yeah,
that,
ma'am.
Preetham sir? Just from the perspective of employment, I would like to say that interior architecture as a specialization is fairly new in Indian markets. And when the employers are looking at your CV and they're talking to you, they don't seem to differentiate too much, though you will find yourself a better fit in architectural firms when you complete interior architecture compared to interior design. I mean, unless you are becoming a part of the interior design team within the architecture firm. So that's how it seemed. But both the degrees are equally employable, is what I would like to say. So it's taught well in terms of how the distinction, how Preetham sir just mentioned, but in terms of employability, both are equally employable. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I hope your question has been answered, Gauravi. Is there any other questions that anybody would like to ask regarding the courses, the campus life, or the admission process? Yes, please. Definitely, Purnima. So Purnima's question is, does interior design in the current situation has a better opportunity? Is interior design a better option in terms of employment, I'm assuming? That's what you mean. So who'd like to take up that question?
Any of us are equipped to pick up that question, I guess, from Amit sir to Dean to any of the HODs. I would like to again sheepishly repeat what Dean has reinforced in the beginning, that design is going to be the profession of the future because there is a lot of scope for us to work in teams. That's how designers are taught. And we don't shy away from even doing projects across disciplines. Like if you are a major or a professional in interior design, you would not turn down an opportunity to work as a product designer for a lifestyle company, or you would not shy away from actually getting involved in a visual communication project with another company or a person or a client. So any of the design disciplines have equal weightage. It should be decided. I mean, you should decide which stream you want to choose based on your interest and your capabilities. So you must understand that an interior designer will work with a space and objects in a different manner compared to how a product designer will work or how a visual communication designer will work. So even if you at the heart have something like I want to be a sustainable practitioner, or I would like to work with crafts, you can still be any of these. You could still be any of the design specialists. So there isn't anything like only interior design is the thing of the future, or only fashion or visual communication is the thing of the future. So if we may understand what are you looking at to do after you graduate, we can help you even better. What are you thinking of? What are you planning to do? What is your interest in any of these professions?
I just want to add something there. The fundamental nature of design is the same. The fundamental approach is the same, regardless of whatever specialization you are in. So if your fundamentals are strong, which is very important at the time of studying, if those fundamentals are very strong, later on when you graduate and when you actually become a professional in the field, you will find it very easy to move from one field to the other, navigate your own journey as a designer across various fields. But the important thing to note is that your fundamentals have to be very clear. And that is what actually a design school gives you. And if you're going to, since I understand that you are interested in a master's program, you have that, the 2 years master's, which is basically aimed at taking your current understanding a little further. But even having said that, if you are actually moving from one field to another one, so like in your case, I think you did the VFX and animation. From there, you're getting into interior design. You can carry the learning forward from what you had earlier into this, and then further on, when you finish after 2 years, you can carry that learning further again. If your fundamentals and if your understanding, your trajectory of learning is clear. And I think that's really the key to the process that we will be focusing on here at School of Design. So don't worry about what is the future and what is most appropriate and what is the best right now, because that can change. In 3 years, something else can come up. You see, whoever thought that healthcare workers are going to be the most coveted people in this last 6-8 months? They were taken for granted, right? So that's the nature of the world, and design at least helps you navigate those things very well. I think that's the most important aspect about design, that as a professional, you can navigate your way through uncharted territories without fear. See?
But I think coming back to what she meant, if maybe you are relying on the discussion that is happening, that a lot of buildings will need to be upgraded, or a lot of buildings may need to be adapted, then you're on the right path. There is going to be a dearth of work for designers, because you will need those interdisciplinary professionals to take up multiple types of projects, like how a lot of people are looking at converting existing buildings into different use, whether it is a ad hoc or a makeshift hospital ward, or a factory which can become a school, or so that those kind of ambiguous or multi-use spaces are going to become the norm of the future. That opens up a lot of doors for us. The other a thing which is looking up and up for us is also how buildings which have now become defunct because of people moving about again might need a newer kind of uplift. They might be like, if you have lesser need to, for example, go to office complexes, like many companies are evacuating their office buildings and turning some of their workforce as work from home, then you might need to think of new things. Maybe we will not need so many shopping malls. We might convert them into something else. In that case also, designers come in, because they will be adapting those spaces to different uses, or maybe making them into something again further adaptable. So for the future, I think whatever kind of designer you are, you'll have to keep jumping, you have to keep adapting. Because it's not going to be stationary, like how Dean said. It's never going to be stationary anymore. We are now disruptive or in a flux.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. I hope your question was answered, Purnima. Are there any other questions from the attendees? Is there anything that the faculty members would like to say?
I think I would like to say thank you for coming, and do visit us if you have more questions, route it back to us. We are happy to become a part of your forward journey into design, and totally looking forward to having more of you come in and join our classrooms, and maybe get on our social media and check out what we are doing in school. Also, we are on Insta, we are on Facebook. We also do a lot of live streaming of our events, and we also put our recordings online. So check them out. Check out our work on our website. Our students have put together an exhibition of their entire last year's work online, which is called Abikal. It is there as a part of our website link. And I also think that it is advisable to come and experience our classroom, in workshops that we do regularly, and events. To look out for those, and maybe you'll get more insight about what happens in each of the departments also, because we do sort of custom make it for certain kinds of designers at times. All right, thank you.
So everybody, our admission counselor, Lavanya ma'am, has posted her contact number and email ID on the chat. Please take note of it in case you have any queries regarding the admission process. You can get us back on that as well. And as Tapasya ma'am said, we're all here to solve your queries and questions. So again, considering there are no more questions. So, I mean, we can end the event here. Yeah, all right. So I'd really like to thank all the attendees, all the participants for giving us your valuable time. Thank you, Dean, thank you, the HODs and all the faculty members for sharing the useful information and insights with everybody. And as we know, we're all here to help you, help solve your queries and questions. So please get back to us whenever you like. And we can share information regarding our social media pages as well. We can let you know about that. So thank you once again. Yeah, thank you, our student ambassadors. Definitely. Thank you, Soumya and Mansi. Your support is really valuable. Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Of course.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Please check the social media link as well. That's in the chat box. Yeah. Thank you.